Kabbalah is considered to be the mystical part of Judaism. But this is not so. Kabbalists explain that Kabbalah is a method of revealing the source of life. Approximately 3,800 years ago, a resident of ancient Babylon, Abraham, realized that there is one single force behind all forces of nature. This force, in turn, contains two opposing powers. The first force pushes each part of nature to a mutual connection. Protons and electrons create atoms, atoms combine into molecules, molecules make matter, and matter produces living organisms that become more and more complex. People create societies and unite into social networks. Where the first force drives all parts of nature into a mutual connection, the second force divides matter. It creates a diversity of forms in inanimate, vegetative, animal, and human nature. Kabbalists explain that the purpose of creation is to balance these two forces. At the time of Abraham, people lived as one big family. The Torah speaks about it in the chapter Bereshit. Now the entire earth was of one language and uniform words. But suddenly, there was a sharp upsurge of egoism. People no longer understood each other. Animosity arose. Until the days of Nimrod, all the people were equal, and no one prevailed over another so as to rule one another. But Nimrod began to prevail and rule the land. This is what David Altshuler, one of the Tanakh commentators, wrote in the 18th century. King Nimrod declared that in order not to be in enmity and to live peacefully, people should go beyond the borders of Babylon. They had to move away from each other. Only then could they live in peace. Abraham stated that it would not solve the problem. The purpose of nature is the unity of opposites. We have to rise above all contradictions. Abraham began to gather people who shared his vision. People from different tribes and kingdoms joined him. This is how a group called the House of Abraham was born, which eventually became the Jewish people. The people were called Jewish based on an idea. In Hebrew, Ivri comes from the root avar, which means passed to the other side, passing from the law of selfish, egoistic love to the law of loving your neighbor. It was Abraham's group that laid the foundation for the people of Israel, and they lived according to this law. Love your neighbor as yourself. Whatever you want done to you, do for your brothers. Rambam, Deuteronomy. Kabbalists explain what the connection among all people should be like. I care about others as I care about myself. Love will cover all crimes. This is the main law of reality. The only requirement is for people to have the desire to execute it. Then we will reveal the single force that controls the universe, which in Kabbalah is called the Creator, God, the upper force. Attaining this force gives answers to all our questions, including the main ones about the essence and meaning of life. Moshe and the leaders of the next generations who came after Abraham continued the path of revealing the single force. This knowledge was transmitted orally by the sages and was called the science of Kabbalah.